No, maybe I shouldn't use a brand name for propriety purposes. But my brother and my sister, Uber in London and Uber in Nigeria, I just said,
do we have a right to expect good service? Do you have a right?
Yes.
You have a right, right?
Yes.
How will service impact the growth of your business? We'll see that after. We'll see that. Good service. Is service a skill that can be acquired, or does it come naturally? Can be acquired. Can be acquired. Yes, can be acquired. To be honest with you, I didn't used to talk like this. But by the time they drilled me inside training school on tone, who would have thought that tone would matter in attracting customers? Who would have imagined it? By the time I was drilled in pitch meaning how I modulate. Oh, and by the way, when I started picking my Yoruba calls, it was exciting. Because sometimes they'll just call in. And Konika Kini. I'm serious. I mean, and we used to categorize them as folks calls. And you would hear them they're calling from Hussein. They are calling from all sorts of places. But guess what? You know what they were doing? These guys, because of how delighted they were about the service, they took it upon themselves. They were the ones that were marketing the products. That was how it grew from 1.5 to 18 million in 18 months. Do you get it? Because that service was personalized. You know how it feels that somebody talks in your language. Oh, say, no. Have you ever been on a flight and you're traveling somewhere and maybe everybody are foreigners around you, and then somebody breaks and says, "Ekaro." It's magic, isn't it? Or in there, oh man, and just because of the fact that somebody somewhere was thinking service, the impact was so exponential. And this is not story, this is not sermon. This is hard facts. These guys will tell themselves, and you could hear when all of them are you could hear all of them getting in the background. You hear a crowd of people, and then they will be the ones saying, and then we had to crash the price of SIM. You understand? Made it cheap because the real value is not in the SIM, but it's the usage. Average revenue per user. How does the current business environment support services? Let's go down. Let me show you how it shows it. Do you know that in Nigeria? Next slide. I just need to show us this for us to. Next slide. Do you know? Have you ever heard about Servicom? Please go back and do something. See, I took the pain to put things around Servicom. Servicom actually exists in government. It's like a pact between government, its agencies, and the service they deliver to Nigeria. And I put it in the slide so that even though you are not able to do research around it, at least the information is there. This is what they say they will do. Whether they are doing it, I won't say anything. But just to let you know that even on a national economic level, right, service is a big deal. And that's the reason why you have Servicom. Is anybody reading through?
Yeah.
Look at the things that they're saying there. They say it's a pact. A pact is like a covenant. What's a covenant in Yoruba? Eh? God bless you. Sometimes these things are not, you can't drive up in English. So, you know what a covenant is? It's a very strong thing to say, we hereby pledge that this is how we're going to serve Nigerians. Next slide. Next slide. Continuation. They don't, this is something that we usually use in training.
Hello.
Sometimes in those days when we used to pick calls, there's a moment that we call the moment of truth. That moment of truth is when somebody, a very aggrieved customer, and you know, a lot of times the customers are not happy, Abi.
Yes.
A lot of times the service is bad. Isn't it? Can you remember?
I did one press conference like that.
Then I remember I had a call up when I said, hey, you should just want to sell to Glow. If you know you're not doing. And
you say waiting?
Yeah, he's entitled to be aggrieved.
Nah.
Because he was getting bad service. And that's the reason why, let's do the next slide. And that's the reason why.
Okay,
Sorry. So it was aligned in my own. my own laptop. And that's the reason why, ladies and gentlemen, that's the reason why in the service, or in the service, the customer service, in serving our customer, the number one thing that needs to be taken care of is what? Can you see it? So, quick exercise. What is your product? It might be a product, it might be a service. I don't say you don't know it, but write it down. You see, there's this powerful thing about writing. It registers again. I know you know what you're doing though. But write it down. Write down what you do, what your product is. If you're into laundry business, say laundry business. If you're into digital marketing, write digital marketing. If you're into vocational, if it's bead making, write it there. Please. Have we done that? I want you to do something else. Maybe you've not done this before. Let me give you an example. Sorry, I hope it's not live television. Who knows the pay of line for? Who can remember one of the old pay of line for MTN? Can you remember the pay of line? When they say MTN, what's the next thing they say? Everywhere you go. Write your business or service and give yourself a pay of line. This is going to take a lot, and I'm going to give us some more time to do this. In that business or service that you've written, give yourself a pay of line. A pay of line should reflect how well that business is going to do in servicing people. And I'm saying that we should do this because I want you to take it back and I want you to make it form the pillar of how you manage what you do. Are we there? Can I go on? Or you need more time? Okay, let me allow you. Just take more time. Be creative about it. Nobody will flog you for dreaming. And take away every limiting belief in your mind. See yourself being able to operate in 4 countries in 10 years. Why not? I'm almost able to say I bind every limiting belief. Don't limit yourself because it's even the picture of how far you see yourself going plays a big part in how you do what you're doing. So if the picture that you're seeing is just in Alagbole, Ikeja, that's fine, it's okay. Nobody will beat you for that. But if you see yourself, let me digress a little bit. Do you know that some clients will not patronize you if you see some addresses on your business profile? In fact, a friend of mine, he offers shared service space in Victoria Island. So I use the address. And because I know that, because of the nature of what I do, there's nothing wrong with the Ikeja, by the way. But I see the interactions I'm going to be having with people from the US, which is already ongoing, clients from North America, clients from Europe. And so I don't want them to start trying to Google it, and they're trying to Google where is the sorry about Alagbole. Does anybody live in Alagbole? Sorry about that. Don't mind. I used to live in Alagbole, so I used to live in Alagbole, near the bridge. But I will be doing myself with the service if that's the address that I put on that my business card. Reason because that guy cannot connect with it. In fact, you know what they typically will do? They will Google it. They will get it on Google Map. And if it's not in an environment that they are comfortable with, you know, it can affect an investment, trust me. Now I'm saying this for us to know that the size of where we're going to, if you have a picture of that, it will influence the way we manage our business. So the first thing there, product, it could be service, right? Product or service. And what we're saying is that between the time that you started that business and now, how many iterations, sorry for that word, iterations mean how much improvement have you done on either that product or that service? It is the service mentality. You'll be surprised. I have a car on Uber, and even me, I'm always surprised that these guys, they improve on that app almost every week. For anybody that they improve on that almost every week, and you'll be wondering, these people, they rest, and that's because of the service orientation. They're thinking about what you're thinking. They're putting themselves in your shoes, right? And they're trying to ensure that in you using that application, it's easy. Anybody can use the application, as in anybody, because it has become, the way it was a year ago is different from the way it is right now. It's become more user-friendly. So product. Next slide. Product. So people, starting with you. We're talking about customers. Don't forget that one. But we are built up to say your personality, your interpersonal skills, your people skills, your ethics, your values. Those things, I'm happy that someone that I do some business with is in this room. And the reason why I've stayed with him, unknown to him, is because of these things that I see in him. I patronize a lot of interesting brands in terms of my laundry, because I'm very mobile. I move around a lot, and so when I'm around, I need somebody that can do my laundry, but not just do it, but do it well. I mean, it wasn't a laundry box. They're supposed to be one of the foremost. You understand? I've benchmarked this guy with laundry box in certain instances, and I know what I know. Laundry box is quite expensive, but I know what I know, because this guy's brand may not as big as laundry box right now, but I get better service. That is service. The reason, and all of those things are from your personality. It's just unfortunate that we don't have enough time. Some of these things that we talk about, we have multiple platforms where sometimes people take 2-3 days out. Each of these things, interpersonal skills, we'll break it down. This is English to some people. But interpersonal skills are, how do you relate with people? Right. Even on the phone, if you're talking to your customer, how's the relation? What kind of attitude do they perceive from you? If you are in a business that requires you interacting with people, and you have a cocky attitude, what's a cocky attitude? As in, cocky attitude.
Kind of like arrogance.
Arrogance. Even if it's on a job, even if it's inside in an employment, that you demonstrate that kind of attitude, it's just a matter of time. It's just a matter of time. You know what they say about attitude? Attitude determines altitude, as in how high you get to. So, if you are the best accountant, and this happens in the boardroom all the time, you are the best accountant, but your attitude sucks. There are 2 accountants in that firm, and they want to promote. Who do you think they promote? Attitude. No matter how knowledgeable you are. So you see, we need to, and I need us to take this down, we need to move away from the thinking that our knowledge is enough. knowledge is not enough. Attitude does more. Take that down. Knowledge is not enough. It gets to a point, people will say, we don't care about what you know. Knowledge is not enough. Attitude is more. You can practically take that to the bank, because no matter how much you know, guess what? There may be like, let me say roughly 10,000 people that know the same thing. If you think, oh, I'm ACSS, okay. If you think you're the best laundry person, oh. If you think you're the best beat maker, oh. And I come to your office and there's attitude. So these things are very important, guys. Very important. Ethics. What is your work ethic? Next slide. We go back to, so it's broken down here. Look and feel of your good or service. Yourself inclusive. So if you are a service-based kind of business, whereby you have to interact with people, it may not. I used to be in an environment that I used to have a lot of young programmers. Programmers are people that they write codes. Do you understand? Those guys sometimes they don't take their part. Why? It's not a requirement for what they do. In their own world, all they need is their laptop, internet, and time, and then maybe food. That's why there's technology has become what they call disruptive, because very, very soon you will no longer need physical offices. You may need a business office to fulfill CAC requirements or to fulfill governance requirement, which is remittance of your taxes, blah, blah, blah. But what they are saying is that it's now becoming more flexible for you to work anywhere. Because we're living at an age whereby you now have tools that can make it happen. So those guys, they don't need to look nice. They don't need to dress nice. They just need their laptop, food, internet, and they write their code. All these applications that you're seeing today, these people, they are programmable. All these things you are seeing is ones and zeros, but they code them and it appears this way. They will design the user interface, they call it UI. Then it will show like this way. But this thing you are seeing, this application you are seeing is code. In case you don't know, it's code. Some people sit down somewhere and wrote it as an application. And then we are able to see it and use it. That's what we're taking it. I like the area of emotional intelligence.